What is up, guys? I'm sure you've all been waiting for this video. I haven't really released a jungle tier list in a long time for solo queue, so I thought why not make one for both high elo and low elo. As far as I'm concerned, I've had a lot of good experience in high elo and I've kind of experimented with low elo as well. So if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, as it does make me want to do more videos. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know what I should do, what to change, so future videos can be better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a nice Thanksgiving. Alright, so I'll be starting with the higher solo queue tier list, as you know, all my viewers are Challenger, of course. I'm kidding, but first jungler up in S+, honestly I thought I'd only put one, and that jungler is in Zhao. He pretty much reminds me of the Season 6 Graves, but for Season 8. Obviously he's melee and he's easier to kite, he's more of an all-in champion, but once you master the basic fundamentals, he's really easy to execute. He's really not that hard as far as gameplay goes. I'm going to get a guide on him, but for the most part, the rune changes have made him even better than Season 7. Like, I was really spamming him once the season was ending and I realized how good he is. But it took me a while, and if I had played him earlier in the season, I realized, wow, this champion's actually really good if you know how to use him properly. But yeah, let me know if you want a guide on him. He's really easy to play, and all the rows for his keystone precision are really good. Secondary domination, he's just really good. After Xin Zhao, the next jungler we have on the S+ tier list is Jarvan, and I'm sure you all know how versatile Jarvan is. He can both go full AD or full tank with Aftershock or even Electrocute, and that's what makes him really versatile. So the fact that you can build full lethality or full tank and still have a game impact is really important, similar to Rek'Sai. I typically go full lethality on Jarvan because I know you need to close out games as fast as possible in this meta. It is a snowball early game meta, and Jarvan just does pretty much everything you need as a jungler in the early game. If you can snowball with him, then you pretty much win and you'll be able to close out the game. But if you don't snowball and you're full AD and the game hits really late game, then you're going to be really useless. The last jungler for S+, as we only have 3, is Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is also in a really good spot as far as early game goes, but the issue is getting to level 6. His clear isn't as good as it used to be, and you get pretty low, but he's still good if you can get to level 6, and he's also extremely versatile in the sense where you can go for a Q evolve or R evolve and still have a shit ton of damage at level 6. But the issue is his ganks are really weak, and if you're not able to snowball early game off free kills or like efficiency as far as counter jungling or farming your own camps goes, then you might get outscaled if you're against a tank, and you'll be less useful than a tank. First champion we have in the S tier is Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is an early game powerhouse as she has 2 auto attack resets, and once you learn to master those, then your early game is pretty much flawless as far as understanding how her basic mechanic goes. The issue with Rek'Sai is if you don't have an impact early game on your lanes, then you're going to basically be more useless than another tank. Also, something nice with Rek'Sai is you can go both full AD and full tank. Just depends on your team comp and the enemy team comp, but for the most part, if you're new to jungling, I'll recommend going with Aftershock, Tiamat into full tank Rek'Sai. Next champion we have in the S tier is Kindred. I'm sure some of you are wondering why is Kindred not S+, and I've experimented a lot with her in solo queue, and I feel like she's just way too team dependent. So as far as your marks go, having control of Scuttle, vision control in their jungle, like, Kindred's not really strong early game until she gets a few marks, and if you don't have lanes with like wave party, then you can't really invade or go for scuttles, and that allows you to fall behind early. And the thing is, Kindred is an amazing champ now with breast attack. Obviously, its keystone's gonna get nerfed because it's so powerful, but it still doesn't matter if you're not able to be relevant in the early game. A snowball meta, then you're just gonna fall behind. Next champion is Shyvana. She's more of an early game farmer slash counter jungler, but as far as her farming goes, she's really fast, and with Prestige attack, she can pretty much one-shot anyone once she gets her 2 main items, which are Blood Razor and Frozen Mallet. It's really interesting how she went from like extremely useless to extremely relevant in this meta. I think it's the fact that she does both a lot of physical and magical damage, and no one has any resistances from early game. And yeah, if you just farm your jungle safely and hope none of your lanes lose, you should have no problem winning, as she takes dragons and barons pretty easily, and her passive allows you to become even more tankier, and that's why you go Frozen Mallet for the health, plus resistances from your passive. The last jungler we have in the S tier is Sejuani. As far as being able to build full tank and pure tank, Sejuani is the only jungler above S tier, and that's because despite being full tank, she still has potential early game contrary to other junglers. There's really nothing more to add about Sejuani. She's always been really good in Season 7, and I don't think she'll be any different in Season 8. Unless Snowball meta gets changed, then she might fall back even further. But for now, her team fighting and ganks are way too good. Her only issue is early game if she dies in her jungle, because her clear is pretty weak early. Now for the A tier, I'm going to discuss a bit faster because obviously these junglers are not as great as the ones I mentioned above. But for the first champion I have Warwick. I'm sure you're all aware, I've always seen Warwick as an easy pick. Extremely good for counter ganks, extremely good for ganks. The issue with him is his first clear. If you're against a good power farmer and they can farm your jungle while you go for plays and nothing happens off your plays, you're gonna get outscaled and eventually you'll be useless if none of your ganks work. Next champion in the A tier is Rammus. Despite the nerfs, I would have had him at S, but I wasn't sure. I felt like he's really not that great early game, and if you get counter ganked once and your gank gets red, then you get put back so behind that you won't be able to recover. The armor nerf is actually a big deal. 3x less armor in early game is a big deal. You do less damage because of your passive and you take more damage. It's like basically 3 less armor seals. He's still really good at ganking. His clear is alright, but he's just not the same jungler as he was last patch. Next jungler on this list is Elise. Similar to Warwick, she has great ganks, great counter ganks, but this is not Korea. People don't know how to utilize their junglers in NA or Europe as efficiently as they do in Korea early game. And yeah, as far as early game metas go, she's still extremely strong 1v1, 2v2. The only issue is if none of your ganks happen properly or get executed properly in the sense where you get kills or any objectives for early game scaling, then you will just fall behind, as mid to late game she's not as great as other junglers. Next champion we have is Rengar. I wasn't sure if Rengar was that great, but then I remember we play on West servers, so it doesn't matter if you pick Rengar and have no early game impact whatsoever. If you can get a free farm to 6, then you'll still be potentially able to take control of the early game. The issue is not many players will let you scale up to 6 and just power farm early game if they're good, or playing early game junglers with lanes that have a lot of control that can allow you to invade. But for the most part, you won't get invaded much and you can just AFK farm till 6, and that's when you can take control of the game. And if you get a lot of early stacks and takedowns, then with the new runes you'll be just as efficient as, Season 4 Rengar or something. Last jungler in A tier that we have is Ezreal. I honestly didn't even think I would consider him a jungler, or Tristana as well. But since he had so much control over, last few patches, that I thought I should just add him here. The issue with Ezreal now is that without Swarm Raiders, it's harder for him to close up on kills. He's still the early game powerhouse range champion that, Kindred and Graves envy to be, or envy to be. However, he's just a better ADC now, and I was going to include Tristana on the same tier list on A, but she's just a better ADC as well, so I didn't include them. In the B tier, the 2 early game champs that I have here are Lee Sin and Italy. These champions have always been early game amazing snowball champions, but right now in this meta, I don't feel as if, or just because of nerfs, they haven't been as efficient or useful as other early game champions I've mentioned above, just because they're harder to execute, as their skill shots are primary to their kit. And if you don't land them or have not mastered these 2 champions, then it's really not worth playing them, as there's other champions that are just better than them early game and take way less skill, like Xin Zhao. The next 2 similar champions I have in the B tier are Kayn and Hecarim. They both require early game scaling, as Hecarim doesn't really do anything before 6 or before Trinity Force, and Kayn doesn't really do anything before his Evolve. They're both decent if you can get away with early game, but then again, just learn to play Rengar if you want to just farm the entire early game and be useful, because it's solo queue, people aren't organized, you can stealth, one-shot anyone. But Kayn and Hecarim don't have that stealth potential, and it's just way less reliability on their early game. Alright, so every champion in the C tier is extremely similar. Dr. Mundo, Nunu, Ivern, and Gragas, all these champions used to be pretty good in Season 6, as you can go full tank, have minimal game impact early, and just outscale the enemy, as your items didn't require much gold whatsoever. So you just basically camp lanes and play it off your teammates and build full tank. But now, since we're in early game meta, these champions aren't as relevant, and if you're not able to just AFK farm or get your teammates ahead with your support kits, then you're just useless. And I don't know, they just have way less early game impact than the other junglers, and they're not really useful in this meta whatsoever. I wouldn't play any of these champions. And finally, in the D tier, this might go like contrary to what I've been saying as far as early game goes, but like someone like Olaf and Graves, these two champions, I feel like they've lost their identities. They've been through so much, and their early games aren't even great. So it's like, why would you ever pick these champions? With Graves, you just AFK farm, try to pick up free kills, but yeah, you're not season 6 Graves, you're just season 7 Graves, one of the lowest win rates. It's so hard to transition as a Graves main into this season because none of the keystones are that great on him, except for, you know, Dark Harvest if you're AFK farming. And with Olaf, he's just always been trash. Like, he dodges axe, he just does nothing. His kit is just, it needs to be reworked, or he'll just always be garbage. I don't know. Alright, and like I said earlier, to the people that are not as high elo or just newer to the game, I've made a list for you guys as well. You'll see some similarities in the first tier list where like Zenzalis S+, champs like Warwick, Rammus, Shyvana are still pretty high up there. The issue is, I don't know why champions like Volibear just don't have any potential keystones they can utilize. That's why I didn't put him that high or even on the tier list, because this one ends at B. As there's some junglers I wouldn't even recommend playing, and Volibear is one of them. Like, he's never had a real keystone for this season to go with. And yeah, so if this tier list helps you out, then please leave a like and subscribe. As well, this video took a really long time, and it really incites me to make more videos in the future regarding helping you guys out, pre-seasons, you know, guides, informational videos, tips, all that stuff. So yeah, I love you guys. Again, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Hope you had a nice day, and hope this video helped you out. Thank you for watching.